Hello, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, we started this whole cycle of the Trump phenomenon and public commentary on it by people suggesting that there were some comparisons between Trump rallies and certain rallies that took place in the 1920s and 30s, particularly in the 1930s in Germany. That quickly progressed to people suggesting that Trump was like Hitler. And it didn't take long before, we're talking mainstream media here, we're declaring that Trump is Hitler. And now, as of last week, we've got to the point where this is entertainment media, are now suggesting that Trump is actually worse than Hitler. The Conan O'Brien show, which I think is normally quite a funny show, featured a little shtick, but a couple of minutes of comedy, or attempted comedy, because I don't think it was actually that funny at all, with comedian Sarah Silverman. She came on stage dressed as Hitler and then proceeded to say that she was really upset that people were comparing her, obviously comparing Hitler, to Donald Trump, and that wasn't fair. So in other words, it's not fair to compare me to Donald Trump because he's worse than I am. Now, the whole bit, it just wasn't funny. Clearly, it had been written as a piece of political propaganda rather than first and foremost as a piece of comedy, and it just wasn't executed very well, and it wasn't written that well at all. And you could tell by the end of it, the audience really didn't react well to it. It's not that they're booing, they just didn't. There was no laughs, and by the end of it, you could sort of tell. I think even Sarah Silverman walking off stage, you got the sense that she realised this thing had bombed big time. It just didn't work at all. There was one particular point, though, that was really cringeworthy for me, and it struck me as soon as she made a joke about Hitler and gold fillings. And as soon as she made that joke, the first thing that just struck me, just like a bolt of lightning, was I thought of all of those innocent victims, the millions of innocent victims who were massacred in that genocide. And I thought about them in that instance, and I thought, is this the sort of legacy that we've got to now? That this is the legacy that we are leaving? This is how we are remembering these people? We are using the very person who was most ultimately responsible for their destruction, violation of dignity, and murders. We are using that person now as political fodder, and we are making light. Now, I've got no problem with Hitler parodies. Look, there's comedy where Hitler parodies and other things have a place, I think, to satirise and warn about danger and everything else. But in this particular instance, I just don't think it's at all justified. And as I said, it wasn't even particularly funny either, which I think probably compounded what was going on stage. But the reality was, to me, it just seems that I don't think this reflects a very intelligent or humane act of public discourse. It sort of speaks to the fact that we've got into desperation, that we've lost the plot a little bit. We can no longer actually respond to Trump and point out exactly what the flaws are. Now, some people are doing this. There are a minority of people who are doing this well and producing really clever commentary and very intelligent and insightful commentary, which responds well to the flaws in what Trump is proposing and responds well to the flaws in Trump's politics and how he's conducted himself. But this, dressing up as Hitler, doing a bit that wasn't funny, and then making what I think was a really offensive joke about victims of the Holocaust, this isn't it. This isn't it. And it speaks to a problem that we have in our society of an inability to reason well and to engage in rational discourse in the public arena. And it's a problem that we actually need to do something about, because if we don't, this is the sort of problem that, interestingly enough, or I guess ironically enough, actually helps to feed a lot of the narrative that Trump has been promoting. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.